In today's video, I am going to explain anatomy and function of hamstrings. Hamstrings is big muscle on posterior part of thigh. There are three muscles in hamstrings. This one is biceps femoris. Particularly, this is long head. What does long head mean? So biceps has two fibers because bi indicates two, right? Ceps means head in anatomical terminology. Two heads muscles, and this is long head part. I will show you short head later. Anyway, this is biceps femoris. This is semitendinosus. Semitendinosus, and this one is semimembranosus. I am going to explain their origin, insertion, and function. Let me explain their origin first. Let's focus on biceps femoris and semitendinosus, okay? These two muscles are very close each other. They attach to ischial tuberosity. Ischial tuberosity is very big bony bump on ischium. This part is ischial tuberosity. Plus, let's look at this connective tissue. This connective tissue is sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. Biceps femoris and semitendinosus attaches to sacrotuberous ligament. This thing is very important to understand myofascial connection of hamstrings to low back. Because think about it, hamstrings goes to knee joint, which I will explain later. That goes to knee joint. So you can follow myofascial connection from knee to hamstrings to pelvis. Then don't forget, biceps and semitendinosus attaches to sacrotuberous ligament. Where is this sacrotuberous ligament going? It is going to sacrum. Now sacrum is the most inferior part of axial skeleton. That means from sacrum you can go to lumbar spines, thoracic spines, cervical spines, all the way up to head. That is why understanding this anatomy is very, very important. Anyhow, origin of biceps femoris and semitendinosus is sacrotuberous ligament and ischial tuberosity. How about semimembranosus? Semimembranosus has slightly different orientation compared to other two muscles. That's here. This muscle attaches to ischial tuberosity. Yep, that's it. Ischial tuberosity. Basically, so hamstrings attach to ischial tuberosity and sacrotuberous ligament. Now, I said biceps femoris has short head. What about short head? What is origin of short head? Alright, this is biceps. This part is long head. You see short head, deep to long head. This muscle attaches to femur. It's important. Long head attaches to ischial tuberosity. That means that crosses hip joint. Yep, hip joint. This is important to analyze movement. On the other hand, short head attaches to femur. That means this fiber does not cross hip joint. So it doesn't have anything to do with hip movement. Thus, long head is more important for hip movement. Before I'm gonna jump into function of hamstrings, let me explain insertion first. This is posterior view of knee. This part is biceps femoris. This is lateral part. This is medial part. This is biceps. Biceps inserts to this area, this bone. This is head of fibula. Head of fibula. And you see semitendinosus and semimembranosus. It's a little bit hard to see from this angle. So let me change picture again. This is medial view. This is semitendinosus that attaches to this area. In this area, three muscles attaching here. Then this is semitendinosus. What is name of this area? This is pes anserinus. Pes anserinus means goose foot. That's Latin word, goose foot, pes anserinus. Semitendinosus attaches to pes anserinus. How about semimembranosus? This is semimembranosus. This muscle has so many attachments. I would like to talk about semimembranosus specifically for another video. So let me put tibia in this video. Basically, semimembranosus attaches to tibia. Of course, there are many numerous attachments. That's so important thing. Anyhow, hamstrings cross knee joint. Biceps attaches to head of fibula. Semitendinosus attaches to pes anserinus. Then semimembranosus basically attaches to tibia. So this is origin and insertion of hamstrings. Let me talk about their function. What is main function of hamstrings? The main function is knee flexion. Knee flexion because they all cross knee joint. Knee flexion is this way, bending knee. This is knee flexion. Plus, don't forget, three muscles, biceps long head, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus attached to ischium. That means that crosses hip joint. So hamstrings move hip. In which direction? That is hip extension. Oh my gosh, this movement is so important for running and walking. It's basically for horizontal moving. This is so important for running, particularly for sprinting. Very, very important. Now, for sprinters or who runs fast, the tendency is they tend to have pulled muscle, the tendon injury of hamstrings. That is kind of evidence that hamstrings is used for running, particularly for sprinting. Anyhow, these are basic movements, knee flexion and hip extension. If you see more detailed way, actually these muscles can do many more movements. Let's look at biceps femoris. This is on lateral part of knee. Thus, this can do external rotation of knee. External rotation of knee. How about other two muscles on medial part, semitendinosus and semimembranosus? They do internal rotation. External rotation and internal rotation. But here is the thing. Knee joint doesn't rotate when knee is completely extension position. Knee only rotates when this joint is in flexion position. Okay, this is very important thing. So biceps does external rotation when knee is flexed. Same time, semimembranosus and semitendinosus do internal rotation when knee is in flexion position. Very important to understand. Plus, let's go to a little bit minor movement for hip joint. All these three muscles do hip adduction. Okay, hip adduction. I'm a little bit skeptic about hip adduction. That makes sense when body is in neutral position. They may do hip adduction. But how about when hip joint is externally rotated? Now hamstrings faces to lateral way. Yep, these muscle groups face to lateral way, outside. Then these muscles may do hip abduction because they are facing to outward. Then if hip is internally rotated, they face to medial way. They act like adductors, right? Then they do adduction. So that's why I put question mark for adduction. This function may be different depends on angle of hip joint. Oh my gosh, hamstrings, very important, then very complicated, very deep muscle. So I love this muscle. This is just freaking important muscle. In today's video, I explained basic anatomy and function of hamstrings. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe. See you next video.